The days are longer, the calendar is filling up, and I want to feel as good as this beautiful summer weather. That's why I've been loving Groons. It's one daily pack of gummies that covers my greens, vitamins, and minerals, and even has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber. So I don't need to juggle a complicated wellness routine on top of everything else. They taste amazing. They're easy to toss in my bag on the go. Plus, they're vegan, gluten free, and HSA, FSA eligible for reimbursement. Save up to 52% off with promo code podcast at gruns.co. That's code podcast at gruns.co.
Welcome back to Dawn of Sports. Dawn Mitchell is the star of the show. She's off this week. We have a great pinch hitter for her, Andrea Yoch, my longtime friend, founder of the Minnesota Aurora, doing all kinds of stuff with World Cup soccer, and of course, always engaged in the women's sports world, always engaged in the sports world with an emphasis on women's sports. We are coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio. Best way to listen to this show or any show at talknorth.com. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen. Also, some of our more popular shows are now also available on YouTube. Check them all out. And if you have any interest in sponsoring this show or any of our shows, we have a great new Vice President of Business Development named Tammy Henderson. You can reach her at thenderson@talknorth.com. I'm going to hand it off to Andrea now. Andrea, thanks for hosting. We appreciate it. And welcome to our guest.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. And thank you to Dawn for trusting me with your podcast. I very much appreciate it. So just a little context. I'm Andrea Yoch. I have been a frequent guest on the podcast to talk about Minnesota Aurora and women's soccer, but have been in the Twin Cities my whole adult life, working in sports and media, and have done all the things, as Jim said. So I'm very excited to try something new today, which is filling in for Dawn. So I am really excited about our guest today. She's brand new to the Twin Cities, just announced recently as the new president of MLV Minnesota, which is our volleyball team based in St. Paul. Michelle Haines, welcome to the Twin Cities. Welcome to St. Paul. And I'm really excited to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. It is such an honor to be here. I'm so glad that I get to talk to you today in this unique circumstance with Dawn out. And certainly with all the work that you've done here, it's well known across the country. So I think we're going to have an amazing conversation today.
Yeah, somebody within your organization told me I was about to make my new best friend. And when I was reading your background, I thought, yeah, we actually have a lot in common. So let's start a little bit with your background. And I can't decide if I want to go recent to past or past to recent because it's fascinating to me. But I think let's start with where you started, which is theater and Broadway. And then I really want to understand how you got to soccer and then volleyball. And for context for you, my son's boyfriend is a Broadway performer. So we are a massive Broadway family. And when I saw that on your background, absolutely fascinated on how you got from Boise State to New York and then Seattle and now to Minnesota. So how'd you do that?
No, I love this. I love this. What a small world. Well, maybe I'll take it even a little bit further back just to help to connect the dots a little bit. But really, my journey to this moment started when I was a kid. We moved a lot. And whenever we moved, there were two places that I could really connect to create community really quickly. And it was theater and the arts, and it was sports. And just wherever I could plug in, I would. And quite frankly, I was a really shy kid. And so these were spaces where you could feel like you were a part of it really quickly, and just made me feel welcome and safe and helped me to grow. And inevitably we would move again, and inevitably I would find my new people, if you will. So early on, I fell in love with choir, theater, the arts. But at the same time, I also played sports, and the one that had my heart was volleyball. So it's truly a full circle moment to come here. But, I played in high school. I did club volleyball. I had some opportunities with college and considered it, but there was no path to pro then. So, and some of the other paths just didn't grab me as much. So life had different plans for me, and I went the theater route. So went to college at Boise State University and majored in theater. And coming out of that, I started my own theater company with some of my
Wow.
friends, and we moved to Seattle. And that's
See,
really
I'm
where
not the only crazy one that's just like, oh, let's just start something.
let's just start a theater. I know it's like the audaciousness of being young, right? Of just like you never
I
even
wish I
questioned
could
it.
use being young as my excuse for Aurora, but I was definitely old when we did that.
Well, I will say though, like that kind of approach where I don't know, throughout my career, I've never had this pre-planned path clearly. Like I would have never looked back as a kid and said, like, this is the path I'm going to take throughout my professional life. And in some ways, I'm so thankful for that because it's allowed me to be flexible and keep the door open to opportunities I didn't even know was out there for me, and put me in positions where I really had to grow and try new things. So yeah, we started a theater company, and really that just led to opportunities working in nonprofit theaters, and eventually I was referred for a job to start working on national tours for DreamWorks and Nickelodeon through a company called Broadway Across America. So that's the job that eventually led me to New York and working on Broadway properties.
Okay. So that's amazing. And I love your answer about community. Jim knows because we've talked about it. I'm a child of immigrants, first generation American. And what drew me into sports and what still drives me into sports is that community, the making the best friend with the person next to you because of your mutual loathing of the Yankees or whatever it
Exactly.
is that is happening. And then it just didn't matter about your background, right? It's sports and music and theater is the great unifier.
So
Um,
true.
so you're on Broadway, you're helping promote shows, and then you decide to go work in soccer.
Sort of. It came to me again, like many things. I had an opportunity through live entertainment that brought me back to Seattle. And then I was working at Seattle Rep, leading marketing and across the business operations there. And someone at that point, I started at Seattle Rep during the pandemic. My first day was March 2nd, 2020.
Oof.
So with it, yeah, that's another conversation. But spent the couple of years working to get that theater reopened and back to a place where we could operate safely and successfully. And during that time, I don't know. I think sometimes you have those moments in your life where you're putting something out into the universe and you don't even know what will come back to you. And I'd been in live entertainment for a long time and had been following what was happening with women's sports and just women in general. And I just knew I wanted to do something in that space. I didn't even know what that meant at that moment. I always looked to sports for inspiration and I always looked for opportunities in that space. And then one came to me for Seattle Reign FC to lead up their marketing. And they were getting ready. They just had a new ownership group come in and they were getting ready to move to Lumen Field from playing in a minor league baseball stadium for the last couple of years. So they really needed someone to come in with some of that experience, both at helping launch, in essence, a new brand under a new ownership and sell a lot of tickets in Lumen Field and just really grow what was already there, this incredible legacy there. And I could not pass that up. So that's how it came my way.
Okay. And for context for people in Minnesota, because we do not have an NWSL team yet, the Seattle Reign play in the National Women's Soccer League, which is the highest level of soccer in the United States. And the Reign is one of the, from what I can see, one of the most successful teams, but also you had the opportunity to work with one of our idols, Megan Rapinoe. And when we get a chance to get you out for a beer, one of the co-founders of Aurora owns Blackheart on University Avenue, and we have a giant Megan Rapinoe mural on the wall at
Love
Blackheart
it.
because that is how much she is revered here, not just for her soccer, but for everything she's done for equal pay and equal rights. So the Reign is a huge organization within women's sports and truly a leader. So what was that like being out there really kind of during a very huge time for the team and the league?
Yeah, no, I could tell. I had recently read an article. I can't remember what publication it was in, but it was chronicling the new ownership group of Gotham and just some of the changes they made to the brand. And at the time, the women didn't have the investment and resources with regards to training facilities, where they played, how they were covered. It was such a powerful article, and that was before the Reign came my way. So when that opportunity came my way, we were still in transition, but clearly with the new ownership group, there was an intention to invest. And that was right at the same time when Commissioner Jessica Berman came on board. So there was definitely a shift happening in the league. And that was also the time that Angel City and the San Diego Wave came on as new expansion teams with a $2 million expansion fee, which now is
We are not going to talk about how
bargain.
me and my friend that decided to start an NWSL team in 2019. So still one of the greatest regrets of my life. My book club could have bought the franchise at that point. So.
I know, it's so incredible. But nevertheless, it was just so clear. There was all the evidence, all the data was there that if you invest, if you focus on community, if you focus on storytelling, if you get coverage, if you start getting broadcasts at the level that you would expect from men's teams, the audience was there, the interest was there, the revenue opportunities were there. So I could tell that was happening and wanted to come in at that moment. But when I came in, we were still in transition. We were still training at a high school in Tacoma. They were just getting ready to transition or had just transitioned to Lumen Field and adjusting to that big jump. And we were trying to get to the point where we were securing local broadcast and commercial partners at a much higher volume. So for me, it was an exciting time and really the core of what made it truly special and made me realize this is the space I want to work in for a long time. It was the players. It's a very player-centered space, and working with players like Megan Rapinoe and Rose Lavelle and Emily Sonnet and just legend after legend after legend. It was such an incredible roster of players. Just Fishlock. I could go on. They were just one of the first meetings I had when I started there was with the assistant GM and with Lou Barnes, the captain of the team, because what was important to them, and they'd never really had a role like this before. They'd had just a couple people in marketing that were more at coordinator, manager levels. They'd never really had an executive at that level. And it was an opportunity to start to do what they knew was possible. And so Lou and Santi presented to me a deck that the players put together about how they wanted to show up in terms of the community engagement they wanted to see, in terms of the values and mission that the organization started with going back to 2013, in the ways that they wanted to show up in social media, press, on broadcast. And it was just so incredible that this was generated from the players. This wasn't something that had to come from the top down. And to me, that was the moment I knew I would be hooked, because then you start working with the fan base and how dedicated and passionate and informed. It's just a different beast. And that really is what we started to build the Reign upon from that point forward.
Lots more to come from Andrea and Michelle. Thank you to Michelle for her time today. We do want to thank the people who keep us rolling. Also, a reminder, Leah B. Olson, longtime Lynx and Timberwolves broadcaster, locally is now doing national games for the WNBA, and she is a regular contributor here at Dawn of Sports. Congratulations to her, and you'll hear her frequently on this network. We would like to thank Aquarius Home Services. We'd also like to thank Minnesota Masonic Charities.
Today, I want to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Masonic Charities. When you think about the Masons, I get it. You think about the funny hats, those pancake breakfasts, which are phenomenal. My dear friend John Schweitz and I have chatted about this, and it's so much more than that. They've got the Masonic home over in Bloomington. They've got the hospital for the children over at the U of M. They are the largest fraternal organization in terms of charitable needs in our country, and they deserve a ton of recognition. So thank you, Minnesota Masonic Charities, for all you do and for supporting us over here at Talk North, and a special thanks to my good friend, John Schweitz.
Welcome to Lucy Nicotine Pouches.
Looking for a pouch that actually stands out? A lot of people I know are reaching for Lucy because it's built for pouch users who want something different. The flavor lasts, the pouch feels great, and it's completely tobacco-free. Lucy pouches come in strengths up to 12 milligrams and have a unique shape that makes them comfortable and easy to use throughout the day. And if you want something even more unique, check out Lucy Breakers. They're nicotine pouches with a hydrating flavor capsule inside. You crack it with your teeth for an instant burst of flavor that lasts. That's what makes them different. Every pouch feels the same, but Lucy Breakers are doing something no one else is, delivering the longest-lasting on-demand flavor in pouches. And now Lucy is available in stores nationwide, so it's easier than ever for you to find them. You can use the store locator at lucy.co/stores or get it delivered fast through apps like DoorDash and GoPuff. Lucy is the only pouch that delivers long-lasting, on-demand flavor, and you can get 20% off your first order when you buy online at lucy.co/dawn and use the promo code DAWN. And if you don't want to wait, check out their store locator to find Lucy near you and grab it today. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of a legal age, and every customer is age verified. Warning, this product does contain nicotine, and nicotine is an addictive chemical.
And a reminder, the Twins are on quite a streak right now. You can go out to the Twins game, see Byron Buxton, see a great group of young arms when they return from their road trip. So thanks to the Minnesota Twins.
Here is where it all starts. Here's where pages are turned and new legends are written. Here's where kids become lifelong fans and lifelong fans become kids. Here's where sunsets last longer, happy hour tastes better, and summer hits its stride. And when all of Twins territory stands together and believes hard enough, well, there's no place like here. Get your tickets at twins.com.
Andrea.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Don't forget, Aurora is also on quite a streak right now. We just had our 50th game undefeated in the regular season since we started. So
Congratulations. Amazing.
Can't wait. It's pretty incredible. Can't wait to get you out to a game to Michelle. So you're with the Reign, fantastic organization with a lot of success. And then the league actually came a calling and you flipped back over to the East Coast.
Yes, I did. We had accomplished so much at the Reign. And during that time, I worked really closely with the league office and Julie Haddon, who was the chief marketing officer at the time. There was just a point when we were hosting our first semifinal at Lumen Field, and my CEO had reached out to her to just see if she had any other ideas of how we could, just really amplify it at the highest level. And Julie, to her credit, I mean, she hadn't been in the job too long, but took the time and responded back with some incredible ideas. And I was thrilled to be able to respond back and said, Julie, we are doing all of this and so much more. So at that point, she was like, you're going to come work for me one day. I don't know how, I don't know when. And sure enough, there was just, when her role expanded to oversee commercial, she really needed someone to come in and help take the marketing department to the next level. So that's when it came, and it worked out well. The Reign was in an ownership shift as well, and it just was an incredible time to move over to the league and learn that part of the business, and at that time, which was just continuing to grow by leap and bounds.
So, yeah. And what's happened in the last few years, not just in women's soccer, but in women's sports has been
Yeah.
unbelievable. And so now you have landed in what we like to believe is the number one state for women's sports in the country. Our Aurora team president actually came to us from Gotham, and she,
Oh,
last summer, she said she had attended more women's sports events in a month living in Minnesota than she had in her entire time living in the New Jersey, New York area, because not only do we have a lot, but it's all very accessible for everyone,
yeah.
which I think is really important. And so you'll get the gauntlet of the Frost and the Lynx and Aurora, and we've got women's football, and we have ultimate frisbee, and now we have volleyball coming. So going back to your love of volleyball, the team has been, from what I can tell, very proactive in jumping into the space and getting ahead of the 2027 season. So can you give us an overview of what fans should be looking for, what you're excited about all of us learning about volleyball? I know that there's a lot of people in Minnesota that just jump on the women's sports without actually knowing anything about the sport. And I always tell everyone that's completely fine. I had never seen a hockey game until I came to Minnesota. And I know that when the puck goes in their net, I'm happy. When the puck goes in our net, I'm sad. And you don't need to know really more than that to enjoy some of these sports. But what do we need to know about volleyball in Minnesota and Grand Casino Arena?
Yeah, candidly, when this opportunity came my way, it's no secret that the women's sports scene in Minneapolis and Minnesota is genuinely special. What has been built here proves that there's a demand from a passionate fan base that's ready to show up. And in particular, the volleyball culture is one of the most vibrant in the country. So I was really excited by the opportunity to start an expansion team here within this environment that is really about, first and foremost, the community, and really thinking about how we as a team can help set a new standard for how players, fans, and the community get to experience this sport of volleyball. It's explosive, it's fun, it's fast. It's really, when you think about that sport, you think about women first. And it's kind of like so many of the other sports in the women's sports space. When you go, you just experience what it's like to sit within that environment that's inclusive and celebratory and competitive. And it just feels like this collective movement, which is why I think women's sports is growing so fast. So the sport of volleyball, I think, is so unique in how it really just, from the first serve, you're just hooked. So I'm excited to create, we've had a lot of conversations throughout the interview process, and now that I'm here, that you can really see how there's a new standard being set across women's sports. And we are in a world-class arena at Grand Casino Arena. So we have all the bells and whistles to pull from to create a world-class experience like none other in the volleyball world. So I'm really committed to not just what we do in the arena, but also how we show up in community and really establish who we are within this incredible women's sports city.
And so will you, over the next couple of months, I know you've signed your first player.
Yeah.
And so if for your job, I'm assuming there is naming coming and a brand coming, or are you going to follow the PWH model where everybody's generic for the first year and then you do naming? What's up for the next couple of months?
No, we definitely, this is a locally owned expansion team. And as such, as any franchise would do, one of the most important decisions that we will be making is around our brand, which includes the logo, the colors, and just the world that we're creating for this franchise and for our players and fans. So all of that work has started before I arrived, and there's been a lot of intention, and we're making sure that we get it right. So it's taking the time it takes. I know you're probably very familiar with this, having gone through it with
We've got
Aurora.
300 names that we didn't use if you need.
Yeah, no, we have the boneyard. So like, and it's a
Well, and
complex.
also on the Frost too. They also had a boneyard. Yeah.
It's a lot. I think what people don't realize is there's a lot of great names out there, but once you start getting into the nitty gritty of IP and trademarks and just something that you
what's
feel like,
offensive. Yeah.
right, and just what feels representative of like where we are, what the fan base is, and how we want to show up as a team. It suddenly becomes really clear, like the territories that you're working in. And this team has done such a great job of including players and fans and other stakeholders in that process. So it's been really intentional. So we'll have some news soon on that. But in the meantime, we do have some more player announcements that will be coming out in the coming weeks. Stephanie Samadi is the first player signed, and I know that this community knows her well. She's an incredible player, one of the best in the world, and I think it's really exciting to have her come back home. She just won a championship back in Japan and is really just one of the most respected athletes in this space. So I think she's going to be an incredible leader for this team. And Pedro Mendes, our GM and coach, has put together an incredible roster that I think our fans are going to be really excited by. So much of the next few months is really just thinking about from that first moment when we launched the brand, what we do in that moment and how it just continues to build momentum up to that first game. And there's a number of milestones between now and then that I'm working with the team to start to craft out so that we're just really clear about how we're showing up and how we create an incredible moment for that first game.
Yeah, and that'll be January, right, of 2027?
January of 2027 at Grand Casino Arena.
That's awesome. It doesn't feel like that long ago since the Wild named themselves, but I know that was, I think, 25 years ago. So,
Yeah.
It's been, it is a very hard part of the process, but when you get it right, it's a big deal, right? It feels so good. And even when we were down to 3 for Aurora and the final 3 were presented to the board, we saw Aurora and our community owners voted on the name. But as soon as we saw it, we knew that one was going to win. Like there was just no doubt. So hopefully you have a clear winner in your group.
I think we're going down the path for sure and getting close. But we just want to be exhaustive with it. And, having worked in marketing and branding, it is a really special moment. And you never get this moment back, right?
Right.
So you want to make sure it hits right. And even if, I was in Seattle when they announced the new name for the hockey team there, the Torrent. And there were some fans that were like, okay. Okay. But I tell you what, you go back there now and everyone's all in. It's all Torrent.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the world that they created, the community they created, the ownership that the fans feel like they have, that's really what it's about. Like the name is just one part of it, but by no means is expressive or reflects the full potential of that brand and what you're building. That's not just for that moment, but sustained for years to come and hopefully becomes a part of Minnesota, legacy.
Well, I mean, certainly I think everybody's trying and I do, I think the greatest thing about our women's sports community here is that if there is anything that you need, anything that any of the other teams can do to help you, we were lifted up tremendously by the Minnesota Lynx when we started. Carly Knox and Cheryl Reeve have, now they're actually investors and on our board, but from the very beginning, they were, how can we help? They were having us over before we had a name. We were able to welcome in the Frost once they started. And so there's a tremendous partnership among the women's teams. And while everybody is going to compete, at the same time, we very much all believe that, all boats rise. And so it's a great thing. So we're very, very happy to have you here. What would you like people to be doing right now? Here's a chance. Plug what you want the fans to be doing to get ready for January 2027.
Yeah, I want them to go to MLVminnesota.com to get more information, put down a deposit for season tickets, and keep an eye out. Sign up for our socials. We're going to have some incredible announcements soon. Events will be showing up in communities. So really excited to get out there and meet people, and excited to build something that I feel like will be reflective of this community. I feel so, I've been here for a week, but I already feel like it's home. I feel so welcome here. And that's been so, what you're talking about, Andrea, has been so evident in terms of the outreach. It's been immediate. And I feel like that's so much of what the women's sports space is about, which is what I love about it. But there are certain communities where it's clear that they really live that. And this is, I'm already just blown over by just the kindness and generosity and the time in a very short amount of time that I've been here. So I can't wait to get to know you better and everyone else in this community, and really help build the next great women's sports team.
We're very excited, and the buzz around the team, I will say, is very real. People are talking about it, which is incredible so early on. And so I'm very excited for your first game. I will say, if you want to experience two things at one time, I will give a plug. On June 6th, the Lynx play at noon and Aurora plays at 4, and Meet Minneapolis is running a shuttle from the Lynx game to the Aurora game and back again. So you can buy a ticket and hit both games, park once, and then a bar of their own is having a special happy hour afterwards. So do you want to do all the women's summer sports things in one day?
One day.
June 6th is your day. So
I love
Saturday,
it.
go to women's sports.
Okay. Thank you for the plug. No, I've been getting the ads served to me, so it's all going the way you would hope.
Exactly. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for joining us, especially a week in. I am really excited to meet you and get you out to a game, and excited to have another soccer person in the market, even though you're here for volleyball. But it's great to have someone else. And also, welcome to Minnesota. I moved here when I was 22. I thought I was staying for 3 years. My husband is now ready to move somewhere warm. I'm like, I can't go anywhere. These are my people. This is my community. Yeah. So you should know that this will be your final stop, because people tend to arrive here and never leave. So
that is what I've heard. We had, when I was here for the interview, we were having dinner, and the server told us that. They said, people feel like they have a hard time understanding what it's like to live here, and moving here can be a little hard. And then once they get here, they never leave. Yeah. And I can feel that so fully already. We're just so smitten. We're staying in St. Paul, and I just feel like we have found our home, and just so excited to help build.
And Dawn, who you will meet, because she's a wonderful local sportscaster and gives great coverage along with Jim to women's sports. Dawn is also an East Coaster, transplanted to Minnesota. Both of us went to Boston College and did not think we were staying here, and here we both still are. So, we're happy to have you here.
So special, and thank you again. I want you to know, what you've built was known from the first year all across the country. And so it's just such an honor to finally be here, be up here with you, talk with you, and excited to get to know you all better.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. And Jim, thank you very much for letting me pinch hit for Dawn today.
Oh, I think we'll be calling you in from the bullpen many more times. I appreciate it. Great stuff from Andrea. Great to meet Michelle. We'll meet you in person soon, Michelle. Best of luck to you. And thanks to everyone who listens. We appreciate it.